a comedy game design podcast by two guys who know nothing about comedy nor game design. I'm Trevor Scott, and with me, as always, is Ben Slinger.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
And yeah, welcome. I think we're going to jump straight into the good old click pitch. It's what you're all here for, right? You don't care about us jabbering on. You just want the sweet, sweet game action.
Yep.
So click pitch is a game where we each have a random word generator in front of us. And on the count of 3 to 1 click, we're going to hit refresh, get a new word, and we're going to turn those words alchemy-like into game design.
I thought you were going to say wisdom there for a second.
No, I won't rip off their entire spiel. So yeah, let's do it. Let's click the buttons. 3, 2, 1, click.
Mm-hmm.
Neighborhood.
Cheating
Neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm picturing like a Real Housewives or like a, what was that, Desperate Housewives kind of situation.
Desperate Housewives.
Some sort of like neighborhood simulator where there's just all sorts of raunchy goings on that you have to somehow. I mean, I guess that's kind of just The Sims.
Okay, so what I'm thinking is that you play this new character to the neighborhood. You and your husband have had some trouble in the past, and you've come to sort of get away from his mistress, sort of thing.
Okay. All right.
And so it's all about, can you trust these people in the new neighborhood to keep their hands off your husband?
Well, I wonder if we just use that as a narrative hook and that's where cheating comes in, and that it's more like, I'm kind of picturing a slow burn horror or thriller.
Okay. Yep.
Set in this neighborhood now that you've just moved to as a family.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, maybe you play the wife who has been cheated on, but you're trying to make it work for the sake of the kids. But like, you sort of end up just discovering things in this neighborhood that slowly start to seem off.
Yeah.
As people come and visit. And
Mr. Granger, who lives next door, who every morning at 3:30 in the morning, you see him out in his garden, just watering the garden. And that's weird.
In a full suit. A tuxedo.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea of just weird goings on like that. And maybe whether you're on sabbatical from work and that's why you're at home a little bit more often. So you're not actually
not just a housewife. Yeah.
You're someone rather big up in the industry that you work in.
Is this one of these situations where maybe in all the drama with the husband and the mistress, something happened and she's like broken her like left arm or something, right? And then for what, like she can't do her job. And so she's stuck at home on like medical leave. A bit of a rear window sort of situation. Except instead of like looking at the window with a telescope or a camera, I'm sort of picturing she's got like a neighborhood watch app on her phone.
Ooh, I like that.
So it's a bit of that sort of, so maybe it's her legs. Maybe she broke her legs. So she's having to go around in a wheelchair. And so all you can do is travel around.
Window, yep.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just stealing that from Rear Window, but more so just because it really limits you to the house, but you can go around sort of the lower floor of the house. Or you've got your, because I'm picturing if you've got your like, they had to install like a wheelchair lift for her to get up the stairs. Because I'm picturing a tense situation where you're like, you see something come up on the neighborhood watch app of something that's going down, but you can only see that place from your upstairs window. And it's like a time sensitive thing. And so you're having to like wait for this fucking wheelchair lift to get you up there because you want to see what's happening.
But also the time that it actually takes and the noise that it makes. If you actually set it off and you go outside, people start sort of looking around, looking for the noise.
Right.
Because they can't quite hear.
There's like stealth elements or something. Yeah, I kind of like that. But then rather than Rear Window where it's like a murder, I'm thinking, it's more of like a horror situation. Like maybe there's someone on the app. Like I think what happens is you slowly start, you can see things come up on the app and then you can look out the window and identify that thing happening, right? So like someone posts, and I don't know, maybe I don't know if people can post anonymously or people are just arseholes, but like someone posts, like such and such is out, polishing his car headlights again. And so you look out the window and you see the guy up, 3 doors down polishing his car headlights, and you're like, oh, okay, that's such and such. You get to like match that up.
Mr. Granger is out watering his garden yet again,
there you
even
go.
though we're in stage 3 water restrictions.
Yes, and it's 3:30 in the morning. You're just like, why are you up? How else am I going to see when Mr. Granger waters his plants? But yeah, I like this idea of things start getting weird then. Like maybe there's one person who posts who you haven't been able to identify, right, by a certain point.
Yeah.
And they always seem to know certain things that are going on, and then they start seeming to know things that you're doing, and you're like, how are they getting this information? And start getting weird
Is that when you find like the cameras installed in your house?
Well, I guess it depends if we go horror, horror that way, or horror like supernatural, paranormal sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Because I was kind of picturing things like, your app starts glitching, what seems like glitching, but it's like, subliminal creep faces coming up and the text dripping down the screen.
Just to make sure that we know what's actually happened to the character, I think when she found out about her husband cheating, she jumped in the car and started driving away, but then was involved in a nasty car accident and broke her legs that way.
Yep.
So it's got nothing to do, like, you can pretty much discount spousal abuse
it wasn't
or anything
domestic
like that.
violence situation. No. Yeah, we should make that clear. No, I think it was just in the drama. Yeah, there was an accident.
Yeah. And it was
that's a good point.
His reaction and the fact that he, started taking care of her and all this sort of stuff that sort of rekindled.
Yeah. So I kind of like, you have sort of things that play out during the day, and then, like he gets home from work and you have sort of moments.
Yeah, a debrief sort of session, but I'm almost thinking that at first he doesn't believe you, but then he notices some of the weird goings on, and he becomes like your staunch ally. So you get that.
Yeah, and then one day he doesn't come home. Then that's when you sort of like, oh shit, someone's really out there.
Yeah, the guy in the weird bunny suit that has like lots of dirt and blood all over it. That's just Mr. Granger and his,
Yeah, that's exactly. That's actually got nothing to do with it. That's a complete red herring. It's just a weird fucking neighbor. It's actually like the fucking Mormons that come by every day.
No one suspects the Mormons.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. I think that's a cool narrative you could build. I was just thinking along the like paranormal horror line, because I feel like we haven't explicitly mentioned it, but this would be really good in VR. But even if it wasn't,
everything's awesome in VR.
Everything's better in VR, including fucking heart-pounding horror. But can you imagine, like, you've been using this phone in VR for like, half the game or whatever, and suddenly like you notice that the text messages from a certain person are like kind of slightly bulging out of the phone, like they've got a sort of 3-dimensional edge to them, but it's really subtle. And then I don't know, at some point later, like something literally just like a hand literally just comes out of this device that you're treating it like a normal everyday phone. But of course, we're in a fucking video game. Anything can happen. I feel like that could be a really good technique.
I think an early thing that happens is that you look at the phone, and anytime that the camera starts up, there's like a little LED that lights up next to it. And you go to look at your phone and the light was on.
Yeah.
And then 2 seconds later it just switches off.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh.
That's creepy. Shit. All right. I like it. 3, 2, 1, click. Trick.
Outgoing
trick.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, outgoing could be so many things. Like, it could be a personality trait, but it could also just be like the mail shoot. Like the outgoing mail, the outgoing something.
Is this like a prank?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. Is it a magic trick? Or my mind went to that phrase, like, the best trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world that he didn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you play the devil.
Okay, so it's a game based on Lucifer, the TV/comic book show.
Didn't we already do that? I feel like we already did that. I think we already did it. We've definitely talked about at least the general idea of playing the devil, but we could do the devil again. Maybe, maybe a different setting though.
Yep, VR.
Or maybe it's not that you play the devil. Maybe it's someone who's discovering. Maybe you do work in a mailroom. And you keep noticing certain things about mail going to a certain address. 666 Devil Way. It's always like a pentagram stamp in the corner, and it says postage paid hell for some reason.
I was just thinking Pennsylvania, then you said pentagram, and I started thinking Pentagramsylvania.
Pentagramsylvania. No, I kind of like the idea though of someone discovering the existence of the devil who's just hanging out on Earth or something like that.
Oh yeah.
I don't know whether where the gameplay comes in that sense. Like, do you use that as the hook just to kick off the game, and you're like, it's more like an adventure game where you're sort of exploring and trying to track the devil? I
think when you arrive there, like, because I'm thinking that you've decided that you're going to track down where this mail actually goes to. So you put a tracker in the mail, you've put out through your through the post office and all that sort of stuff, and then you trace it down. And when you knock at the door, there's a young lady that answers it. Lucy.
So Lucy. So I'm thinking, like, all that happens is basically like the opening cutscene.
Yeah.
Is like a letter comes across your mail room, or like whatever, post office desk. You notice the weird pentagram in the corner. You notice the address 666 Devil Way. You notice that like it smells like sulfur. It's postmarked hell.
Pentagramsylvania has been crossed out and Pennsylvania has been written in blood.
And so you're like, what the fuck? And then, you put a tracker in it. And I don't know why you wouldn't necessarily need to put a tracker in it. You literally have the address. But, Anyway, you go to visit and, okay, so Lucy answers the door.
Yep.
Now, is she the devil based on your, like, very obvious sort of nickname there? Or is this, like, the daughter or wife or...
I kind of think that this is, like, it's unknown. The only person that's here is a girl by the name of Lucy, and she seems, like, sweet and, like, not at all what you were expecting. You were expecting, like, the typical sort of guy with an evil goatee and... Yeah, and that
but you're
sort
saying
of
this
stuff.
This is the devil. Is that what you're saying? Or are you saying that it's unknown? I'm just saying, if we call her Lucy, it's going to be pretty obvious to people. Okay, but you're saying, so you're saying this person suspects that this super obvious situation where a woman named Lucy at 666 Devil Way, Pentagramsylvania, lives there. They're like, okay, this has to be the fucking devil. And the game is you determining
trying to prove that.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
Yeah. So I think whether you twist it round to the fact that this isn't the devil, but it's actually God.
Okay.
So
hiding
the greatest trick that God ever played was
making you think the devil did exist. Okay, from a gameplay standpoint, I kind of like this as a series of conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you even do a her story like full motion video style thing.
Yep. So I'm thinking what you've got to do is actually ask lots of people in the town about, the girl who lives at 666 Devil Way, Pentagram.
Yeah, well, maybe you've got like a research phase and then an interview phase, or like a discussion phase, or like you just start going over there for afternoon tea or whatever. Mm-hmm. And based on what you've researched, you've now got new kind of keywords you can ask about, new questions you can ask. And it's just a very storytelling, like the dialogue back and forth situation. Maybe there are things that happen, like someone else comes to visit or the phone rings, and you sort of glean information from that then also gives you new options you can ask about. But it really comes down to just piecing together the whole situation from these very, mostly innocent conversations.
Yep.
With a really good writer and a really good actor playing Lucy.
So in other words, not us and not us.
Oh, fuck no. No. We're just the idea man as usual. But I think that could be really cool. I think that could be done really well.
Mm-hmm.
And we need more full motion video games.
Oh, 100%. I'd love to see what would actually happen if you actually did full motion video inside of VR.
Ooh, how would that work? It'd always have to be on a screen.
Well, I'm thinking it'd be one of those things where it uses one of those 360 video cameras to film the whole thing. And
so you're effectively mapping it onto 3D.
Yeah, but what I'm thinking is it's sort of like one of those things.
I see what you mean. Sorry, yeah. So you're stuck into one position, but you can look around anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, you could do that. Oh, and then you've got sort of all
conversation pieces that you can do.
All your interactable stuff is VR close up, and then sort of the video is almost behind that as a... Yeah, that could be interesting.
That could be quite cool. Yeah. Okay, so this god chick, does she have a twin sister? And the twin sister is actually like the devil?
Sure.
Because I kind of like the idea that God and the devil are actually related. And
do you find out that sometimes you were talking to one and sometimes you were talking to the other?
Oh, a la The Prestige.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Spoilers.
I like. I don't think anyone who hasn't seen The Prestige, A, shame on you, and B, it was fucking like 1990 something.
2006, but anyway.
Oh, was it?
14 years. It's long enough.
2006. I swear I saw that like at the cinemas, like very, very early on in my relationship with my wife.
No, you just had the mind of a 15-year-old in the body of a 25-year-old.
Yeah, pretty much. In fact, I would have been 26 when it came out, probably.
There you go. Anyway, yeah, that's cool. 3, 2, 1, click.
3, 2, 1, click.
Conversation. This one might be too similar, but we'll see.
At.
AT?
Yes. AT. So I'm taking this as the at symbol.
Yep.
So this is a conversation that happens over email. So
over email or Twitter or Slack. Any of those things where you at someone.
Yeah. I know, I kind of like the idea of pen pals, emails.
Yeah, well, we've done a few games similar to this. And I mean, even the Neighborhood Watch one is a little bit like this, where it's, a big part of the kind of conversation and the narrative is taking place on a device.
Okay, but what's happened in this world is that due to a large solar storm, there's no like internet or anything anymore. And you now have to try and find your pen pal because you just need to know the ending to the story. What happened next.
This is very close to the Endless Runner game we did last week.
Is it?
I mean, sort of. That was traveling to deliver things to your pen pal, but
we keep coming close to stuff that we've done in the past.
I mean, we're at episode 169, so there's a lot of stuff we've done.
100 plus nice.
So here's the other option.
Yes.
A la Emoji Movie, you play the at symbol or an at symbol.
Yep.
And you're just waiting for your chance to who are you going to notify? Who is going to be the person that you are used to get the attention of? And maybe it's like a love story.
Okay.
Or maybe we say that the at symbol kind of represents a person's avatar, like their username, right? Like everyone's, I'm at Ben Slinger on Twitter, right? So my at is my avatar in that internet space. And so you do a bit of a Wreck-It Ralph or a Tron or you're in that imaginary space of the internet.
So I'm actually looking into what the origin of the at symbol was.
Okay.
Because I kind of like the idea of, it originally was used for something else, and it's sort of hidden in time.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Okay.
Because I do like that idea of you being the at symbol, but people have forgotten what it was actually supposed to be, rather than...
Okay.
It's now being sort of converted into everyday speak.
Gotcha. So Wikipedia says it was originally used to mean at a rate of in accounting. But that's, it's apparently been around for quite a while.
Mm-hmm. I was hoping that we find something a bit better than...
You could take it as some sort of occult symbol if you wanted. Like it symbolizes a demon with the circle of salt, like an unclosed circle of salt around it or something, or circle of power. And the fact that it's being used just constantly now is like really screwing up the occult world and the demonic plane. Because it's basically like deafening everyone in the demonic plane. Because it's actually just calling for them at all times, but ineffectively.
Yeah, because every time they get called, like there's one guy whose symbol was the at symbol, like one demon. And anytime someone used that symbol, he would get called. But
well,
because
I'm thinking
everyone
it's more
now
like
uses
a general,
it every day.
I think it's more like a general symbol used around summoning demons, because then you get to have the double use of like people in the real world are literally atting demons when they like hit someone up on Twitter. And so I was like, whenever I go at Trev H. Scott, there's like this fucking demon called Trevor Scott that is like, oh, fuck, not again. Like they get a little itch in their head. And so this is like the story on their side in the demonic plane of, I don't know, they're trying to stop it. It's basically an attack on them for years since email was invented. Basically, they've been trying to break through, destroy the internet.
The demon Gmail absolutely hates it.
Yes, exactly. And lucky Yahoo is he's been getting less of it lately, so he's pretty happy.
And Hotmail is just literally
just a stripper,
hot mailman,
stripper demon,
and he just gets nothing anymore. And
yeah, and he's actually disappointed he was into it.
Yeah.
All right, I like that a lot. Gmail, that's good. So did they finally break through, or do they find a way to maybe like start like coming through via the internet or something, like using it to their advantage? Like, how does this portal kind of what happens? How does the invasion take place? Well, not really an invasion.
I think what it is you play one of the demons.
Okay.
And your whole thing is that you're trying to come up with the way to stop people from using the @ symbol. You don't care about conquering Earth or anything like that. Like you've been over that since biblical times, sort of thing. But all you want to do is get the notifications to stop.
Yeah, you basically want to mute the conversation.
Yeah, notifications in hell are just as bad as what you might imagine.
Like the sound and every time it happens, their whole head vibrates. I'm thinking of this less as like a hell demon and more of just a like separate plane of existence, though.
Yeah, yeah. What I like though is that Gmail, like, he's in a coma. He gets so many notifications. So I'm thinking that that's maybe your brother, and maybe you play Hotmail.
Okay. You play Hotmail? No, I think you should play Yahoo. Yahoo. Because you're still having to deal with it to a certain degree, but not too much.
Or you play Misson.
Misson. Just no vowels. It's perfect. That's why, like, it really ramped up when all these fucking domains started getting registered with no vowels in them, because that's actually just a really common naming system in doing the demonic plane.
So yeah, I do like the idea that the whole thing is that they're trying to maybe shut down the internet because they think that will actually stop the notifications.
Yeah. Basically, they've got a whole branch of science that over the past 50, 60 years has been dedicated to figuring out where this is coming from. They've traced it through the, like, dimensional plane. You know, they didn't even know there was a fucking mortal plane. Like, this is literally the first time this has ever happened.
Yeah.
You know, yes, they're demons, but, like, they're not traditional demons in the way we know. They have their own society. They're not inherently evil or anything like that. They obviously have different.
They just look different.
Yeah, they obviously have their own culture and stuff, but yeah, like, so yeah, they've got this fucking branch of science that through this has discovered the fact that there are multiple planes, or at least one other plane of existence, traced this through, managed to send through probes, figured out why it's happening. And now this is them finally, maybe you're like the first manned probe to go through the dimensional, you know, curtain. Mm-hmm. And then you just fucking rip and tear, motherfucker.
It's basically like a God of War game.
Well, it's like Doom. It's reverse Doom.
Oh, God. I really like that idea about a reverse Doom, and this whole story is like, this is the backstory that sort of comes up in text form at the start.
Yeah. It's like the reverse of, you know, Deimos and Phobos or whatever, the moon bases broke through to hell. Yeah, it's the opposite of that. The whole backstory around the internet sending this demonic plane into a scientific race to figure out where these fucking notifications were coming from. That were constantly summoning demons.
Yeah.
I love it. I don't care what the gameplay is. The idea is good enough.
It is.
3, 2, 1, click.
Yep.
Into the unknown. Unknown.
Notable
unknown. Well, that is almost an oxymoron, surely.
Yeah.
Maybe this is something to do with the Bermuda Triangle.
Ooh, yes.
Which is like a notable place where unknown things happen, or according to, you know, conspiracy theory. Yeah, like, do we do kind of an adventure game? Do we do a platformer? Do we do some sort of, I don't know, existential horror?
I kind of like the idea of a platformer game set inside the Bermuda Triangle, in which literally as you go in, you notice that literally there's boats and planes and everything just sort of stuck in sort of midair.
Like in midair.
But for some reason.
Ooh. Yeah, so you're actually like...
For some reason, you're actually like... You've got full movement. Everyone else on this boat is frozen.
Oh, I like that. Instead of like a... Because the platformer kind of makes me think Sonic and stuff. Maybe more of like a Metroidvania, like a Hollow Knight or a Ori and the Blind Forest sort of thing, where you're exploring this world of the Bermuda Triangle, and as you kind of unlock new powers and things, you can... I mean, everyone knows what a Metroidvania is. So yeah, a Metroidvania.
Yep.
Because then you can have sections of like, you know, this is the section with Amelia Earhart's playing or whatever. And the Titanic is somehow here.
Yeah, so what I like is the idea that if you, for some reason, if you touch something, and you stop touching another thing, that other thing freezes in time, and this other thing that you touch starts moving.
Okay. Oh, okay. That's a cool mechanic. So by touching something, you can bring it out of the stasis.
Yep.
That it's in. And then maybe you start getting powers where you can like create anti-stasis bubbles or something to like have something move for a certain amount of time after you've stopped touching it, right?
Yeah.
Because that can be one of the powers that lets you get to a new area, because you can, you know, you can have a switch that doesn't automatically freeze or whatever.
Yeah. And then I like the idea that, you know, you need to get through this level. Well, see that plane up there? You get up to the plane and then the plane starts moving at a slow speed because you're only touching it lightly or something like that, or it takes a little bit of time to come back up to speed. Yeah. And I like the idea that maybe one of the characters that you meet who is flying a plane is Amelia Earhart, and she becomes like your sidekick throughout this. That basically anytime that you touch her, she comes back to life. But within the Bermuda Triangle, if you're not doing the escort quest sort of thing, she becomes almost like a statue.
Yeah, well, I definitely like that idea of you come across people and touch them and talk to them for a while, but it's obviously only as long as you're touching them. And then again, like maybe one of the powers, like one of the door opening powers as such to open up more of the space is some way to keep a companion unfrozen permanently.
Or for a longer time at least.
Yeah, perhaps. But I mean, you story-wise, it's only Amelia Earhart that you can do, like that you can have as your companion, but like the story hook is... And then she's got certain things where you can either like hit 2 switches at once, or, you know, she can throw you up, or you can pass her up, or whatever, right? You've got those moves that you can only do with an extra person.
Yeah, I really like that, you know, for some reason, everyone else weren't caught in the stasis field quite right. So they've all turned to like skeletons and shit. So, because
maybe you come across, like, depending on how different ones were caught, some people are preserved, some people just rotted. Yeah.
So the first person that you came across that's preserved was Amelia Earhart.
Yeah.
For the rest of the game, you're finding these people.
Mm-hmm.
Some preserved, some not, and it's almost like in the old Monster Bash games where you free the pets sort of thing. Your whole thing is that you free the people and sort of get them to safety.
Right.
Almost kind of like a Dead Rising, you know, how you got lots of different people that you can sort of save.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, that could be cool. There's like a certain point, like you as you go around, you know, you're going to need some sort of fast travel portal, so you like... There's some ancient civilization that was here. That's the whole reason for why the Bermuda Triangle, why this huge stasis field is here. So, you managed to unlock the fast travel portals, and it's just a matter of getting them back to those or something.
Yep.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That.
That's really cool. So I like the idea that you play a young woman pilot yourself so like having Amelia Earhart there is like a big deal. She's basically a role model.
I like the idea of the power not even being really discussed, as in why she has this power. It just so happens that, you know, right person, right time sort of thing. Chosen one-esque.
Why she didn't get caught in the stasis field, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, perhaps. Either that or, you know, like we said, they sort of land in different ways. Maybe she just happened to land on something that, like, she landed on literally like a power node for the stasis field or something that, like, basically magnetized her, except stasisized her. I don't know. I guess it would depend on how much we'd want to bring that into the story of you there being some reason.
I mean, 100% the actual cause of this whole thing is just malfunctioning technology. Basically, there was like a stasis drive sort of thing where they used the power of holding time still to actually travel. I kind of like that idea.
Is this like a kind of advanced technology World War II situation or like early 20th century situation where it's humans that developed it? Or are you thinking alien tech? Okay.
Alien tech, but the way... When they realized that they couldn't actually travel really far distances in a short amount of time, they just froze time to travel that distance in what looked like a blink of an eye, but really they froze all time everywhere. And it malfunctioned in this one area.
And they crashed into Earth, basically.
Yeah.
Like billions of years or millions of years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. That's cool. That's cool. And yeah, so you'd be unraveling that as you went and finding ways to translate the alien audio logs or whatever. Collectibles.
And then when you realize that at any stage, like, other stasis drives could have actually been going off, like, and you wouldn't know because, you know, many, many years ago, in fact, what they could be at the end is you hit the emergency broadcast button and then all of a sudden the aliens are there.
Right. Now they've perfected the technology and...
Well, because they got it many, many thousands of years ago, but they've just paused the entire universe until they got there. Like, that's how they, you know, they don't actually age while they've got it paused.
Well, and that makes sense for why you have that stasis, like anti-stasis power as well, basically, is that you've hit, you know, the power core or the device that kept their ship out, like unfrozen. In that sense, but again, it's only this localized effect that's still working, and that's how it's malfunctioning. But that's really nuts. They literally just freeze the entire universe just
until they get somewhere, and then
so they can have a faster commute.
I'm imagining that the speed it actually goes, is just below the speed of light. So you're talking many, many years, but because, whenever they freeze.
So how do they, on the ship, do they freeze themselves as well? So it's like this time bubble outside, time bubble inside?
They've actually lived millions upon millions of years.
Oh, okay.
The thing is, they haven't actually aged during the flight because, it freezes, something in the
because even for them, kind of like, even though they're conscious, time doesn't sort of pass on their bodies or something.
Yeah. Time passes in a much more unusual way in the fact that bacteria and stuff that would normally be able to break down their body can't actually do shit during that time. So they can actually go the entire time without eating food or anything like that.
Well, it could be something interesting like they freeze the entire universe 100% and then freeze their ship just 99%. And it's almost like pressure going like around a wing or something, and then the shape of the ship kind of just pushes them through space-time. But as a result, like it's also not that long for them. Like it's still a few years or something, but it like vastly shortens the amount of time they experience as well. And so yes, they're aging, but like it's still comparatively super quick. Yeah, I don't know. You'd technobabble your way out of it, but I do love that idea.
I kind of like the idea that halfway through the conversation, more aliens turn up and go, "Oh, sorry, we didn't realize that you hit that you answered the call. Okay, see ya." And just middle of the conversation.
Yeah, which of course makes you realize that
this could be happening at all times.
The other aliens as well were frozen. Like, they're just. How does it work when two ships are traveling at once? I'm not sure my brain can handle that idea.
I love the idea.
The sequel is about the fucking universal, like, disaster that these ships have created because when multiples of them are traveling, it creates, like, ripples through space-time, and this is basically the universe's, like, climate disaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I love that a lot.
That's
great.
Great.
One click.
Yeah. Just
R-E.
Generating.
Regenerating. Awesome. So this is a Doctor Who game.
Oh, fuck no. Come on. I don't know Doctor Who. All right. This is the 2011th Doctor. That's not a number. This is the 157th Doctor, 5 billion years in the future. I don't know. How often does the Doctor regenerate?
Then they travel back in time to 2020. Okay, done.
I mean, of course they do. How else would you set the current version of the TV? But they've got all their knowledge.
See, it doesn't actually matter. And what I actually find kind of funny is the fact that you said, some super future Doctor
So hang on. Do the different versions of the Doctor ever run into each other?
Yes.
Okay.
There was a special in the 1980s called The Five Doctors, in which you had 1, 2, 3, and 5 talk to each other. Don't even ask where 4 was.
Yeah. Well, and not only where 4 was, that means there were only 4 of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, 4 got locked. Tom Baker didn't want to come back because it had only been like a year since he left.
Yeah.
So they just used an unaired serial just to show like a little bit of stuff of him saying, "Yep, he's been caught in this sort of time thing."
Right. Okay.
And so that's how they got away.
Can we do a Doctor Who game without going deep into any of the lore or like previous references to episodes? Because I have not seen them.
Yes, we can.
Okay.
I don't know why you don't like it. Like, your dad loves Doctor Who.
It's not, I have not been in the headspace to try it again. I'm sure there are some of it that I would enjoy. I just don't know it. I know general ideas. There are Daleks and there's a Time Lord and a TARDIS and there's a companion all the time and apparently it can't be a black man or a woman or... I know it's a woman now, but...
Yeah.
Toxic fan base.
Let's just say that they've really, in this last season, they've really changed the origin of the Doctor, like a lot, that pretty much everything that you just said is right out the window now. Like,
right.
Has definitely been a black man in the past, has definitely been a black woman, and it's basically...
Oh, I see. They're saying that there have been other,
yes,
regenerations.
And in fact, there's a spoiler for people who haven't actually seen it. They introduced a brand new Doctor that no one had ever seen before, and it was played by a black woman by the name of Jo Martin, and she did an amazing job. And the second that she introduced herself as the Doctor, I'm like, oh my God, where the fuck are they going to go from here?
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad they're
that
trying to make amends. And I'm glad that they did that in a season where there actually is a woman Doctor and didn't try to just pass themselves off as, see, we can do it, and still have a main character male Doctor. But yeah. All right. Okay. Problematic aspects aside of the past 50 years of that show.
Nearly 60.
Jesus, I knew it was
2023, 60 years.
Man, that's nuts. What is this game about? Okay. Obviously, it's got to be around a regeneration or regenerations of the Doctor.
Yeah, so I think this is actually... Recently, they did a VR game called Doctor Who: The Edge of Time.
Okay.
And, I played a bit of it. I didn't pay for it because I've got it on Viveport, which I've got a subscription for, and it wasn't too bad. But you didn't play the Doctor. You played someone helping the Doctor. So I kind of like the idea that this is one of these adventures that every time that you get hit, you regenerate.
It's a roguelike, and just every time you get a new Doctor.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a Metroidvania.
It's a bit like Rogue Legacy.
Yep, Rogue Legacy, where you get slightly different sort of traits each time. Attributes and stats and stuff. But it's all based around, it's a non-canonical Doctor Who sort of game. And occasionally, you can
bring in
play around it and bring a fan favorite in. And
I like the idea that it randomly generates you a companion each time too.
I do like that.
So what sort of game are you thinking, though?
I'm definitely thinking a third-person adventure.
Yep.
Better than the Doctor Who games that came out under the, in the 11th Doctor's reign, which I actually own if you ever want to check them out. Doctor Who: The Adventure games. They were a third-person adventure game, but they weren't really...
good.
Super Crash. They were okay, but they just... I would love a sprawling adventure. But every time that you get hit, instead of losing a life, you just regenerate into a new
I guess it's more that
character.
Do we address that in the game rather than just a roguelike where, it's as if it hadn't happened in a sense, other than certain progression that go from run to run? Is it more like an event? Yeah, it's an adventure game with some action elements. You die, you regenerate as a new one, and people kind of comment, it's oh, again? You have to reintroduce yourself again, and there's some standard things. It's fuck, now I got to learn this face.
Ooh, so rather than it being an easy thing to die, maybe it's one of those Mass Effect sort of games.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Okay.
if you get hit too much, so your companions that you're taking out on this adventure, basically your party that you're taking out.
Yeah.
So there's lots of conversations, but if you go to a place that you've been to before, but your character has now changed, you have to reintroduce and tell them, and try to explain who you are again.
Mm-hmm. I like the idea of a Mass Effect-ish sort of thing, because you can get a good mix of action and storytelling in there.
Yep.
Definitely. Definitely like that idea of somehow winding the regenerations into the conversations and into the storyline. Is there a penalty to it, or is it just kind of a fucking you have to go and find your corpse and get your shit back?
So maybe you don't actually play the Doctor. Maybe what you play is another Time Lord.
Another Time Lord, and
you're looking for the Doctor.
Okay.
And so you believe in the typical rules of Gallifreyans that you only have 12 regenerations.
Oh, so, okay. Was that a thing? Until,
yes, that's the thing.
They needed a third Doctor. Yep. Good old retcons. Okay. That makes sense. And then, so something special happens the 13th time you die. Yep.
And that's where... maybe there's something else that actually happens, or maybe it's, someone comes in and Deus Ex Machina, or whatever it is, and, fixes you up sort of thing, and gives you another set of regenerations and said, don't let it happen again.
Deal me in. Deal me back in.
But yeah, I kind of like the idea that, this is actually what's going on. And, given what's happened in Doctor Who now, who's to say that this other Time Lord that you are, following along with, the TARDIS can look somewhat different and
who is to
all
say?
This sort of stuff. Because, yes.
Who's to say?
We are.
The Doctor. Doctor Who's to say. All right, yeah, that's cool. Look, if I had more Doc knowledge, then if I was more of a Whovian, a Hoover,
you should really it's on Standard. The first
as if I've got time
series.
to binge watch fucking 13 seasons of something or more than that. 13 Doctors worth.
Technically more.
Yeah.
Because hang on, let me just go to my hard drive for a second. I'm trying to remember how many.
Where should I start? Is the question.
2005,
like basically where they picked it up again. With Eccleston or whatever. Right?
Rather than going through the previous 26 seasons, you can just go through the 13 current or 12 current seasons.
Maybe one day if I can get Erica into it. Yeah.
The first episode is called Rose, and they spend the entire time with the companion, and the Doctor comes in about halfway through the episode.
I've watched the first few episodes years back, but I'll maybe give
it's
it a
little
try
bit hard to get into
again.
some of the earlier stuff, but geez, there's some good good episodes.
I know there's some good stuff in there. All right, let's do one more. Push on click.
Yep.
Stock.
Artist.
Do you play a stock photo, like a stock photographer? You just have to put together...
I was thinking that you have to put together art with stock photography.
Oh, no, I was thinking... Because you've seen some of the weird shit that they have for stock photography because they have no idea what someone would want a photo of, so they just put together the most random crap.
Yeah.
It's basically just like a builder game, but then you get to photograph it and it'll like randomly tell you how much money you make from royalties or something.
Depending on how well you framed the ducks quacking in the pond and...
Yeah, the ducks quacking in the pond while a man...
Lava bubbling.
While a man in a swimsuit, like, pops out of the water or something.
Oh, it could be like one of those...
It's
like a Hitman sort of game. There's a whole heap of stuff going on, sort of in a loop, and it's all about picking the right things to capture on film.
Do I just go to this 177 weird WTF stock photos and find a random one, and that's what we base the game off?
Okay, done.
All right, here we go. I'm scrolling halfway down.
This is so a new version of Click Pitch.
Totally. All right, this is really fucking odd, but okay.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's what came up. So... apparently the person searched for finance. It's got a sort of slick looking guy with a weird striped orange and white tie, but he has glowing white eyes and like a dirty kind of stubbly beard that looks painted on in Photoshop.
Yeah,
looks
and
fake.
The thing is, the dirty goes all the way up to the forehead.
Yeah, weirdly.
Like his
it's
temples
almost like
are
they've
all
tried to
fucking
dodge
dirty.
burn shadows onto him, which is weird to see.
I think,
and his arm looks like it's backwards. His hand, his wrist looks weird.
The hair on the arm goes down a little bit onto the palm.
So, this is obviously some sort of supernatural creature working in an office building, right?
Yeah.
Is this a Twilight-esque situation where there's a sexy paranormal creature? Is this like a banshee or something?
I think he's a hot mummy.
He's a hot mummy. Okay.
The bandages have all come off.
Yep.
The white of the eyes is because the eyes kind of glazed over when he was...
yeah, totally. He's mummified eyes.
They're like cataracts now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he blind?
I think so, but he's got like really good sonar for some reason.
I mean, he's a mummy who, you can give him whatever powers you want. Nobody knows what powers mummies have. All right. Presumably he's some sort of like Egyptian god or lord or like whatever, pharaoh.
It's Tutankhamun.
It's actually Tutankhamun. Sexy Tutankhamun.
He grew up.
Looks like he got younger. Well, actually, no, because he was young, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
Hang on. Well, he was 18 or 19 when he died, apparently.
Yeah.
So that's about right.
That's perfect.
That's
perfect.
Definitely
yep.
sexy Tutankhamun.
Yeah.
All right, so what's the game? Do you play as Tutankhamun?
I think you play the office secretary who's trying to figure out this new mysterious finance broker that's sort of come through the office.
Yeah.
You're trying to figure out, what his deal is. You see, like, in his notepad, like, some funny little, like, drawings of characters.
He's always doodling, this guy.
And, yeah.
He's like, he's this, like, brooding artist type. He's got all these little doodles in his book. You find out later that it's just like him taking notes about how to be a human.
Yeah. That's what I'm picturing. Like, he loves drawing like an eye and then little bird.
How does this play out? I'm sitting here, I've got my mouse and keyboard or my controller in my hands. Like, what am I doing?
Okay, so it's a VR game.
Okay. Yep.
It's sort of like observational sort of stuff at the start. Like you're sort of sat next to this guy and you see his creepy, like, white eyes where, we said before that he was blind, but it just turns out that, like, no, they're just...
No, it's
he can see...
He explains that he's got some, like, pigmentation...
He's got contacts in. That's why it looks so weird. And,
he just chooses to wear...
Yeah.
Or is it for... Does he have some medical condition? He has to wear these bright white contacts.
Yeah. These are the new transitions lenses, contact lenses that we came up with a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so he's just wearing those because his eyes are very, very sensitive to UV.
Sure.
It just makes his eyes look white. So that's his explanation for that. The fact that he actually looks kind of dirty all the time.
It's because he sleeps in a sarcophagus.
Well, he keeps on talking that out as in he spends each morning, helping.
Oh, right. Like helping the unfortunate
and helping like clean up parts of the city. And there's always different things that he's saying that he's doing.
Yeah, sure. So this is a game where we're going to, for one, have to develop the tech for smoldering good looks, quite definitively, because you're in VR. I feel like, he comes and sits down next to you as the new guy. Like you have to tap him on the shoulder and then you get into conversations, with him and find out about this stuff and try not to swoon because it's so fucking sexy. This mummy
with red hair. Like he's half ginger,
I think it's
half brown hair. Like,
I think that's just the lighting.
So
need to remember to put this photo in the
sexy
show
backpack
notes.
with what looks to be like an orca strap.
Well, I think that's just one of those, like, it cinches the top shut, doesn't it?
Oh, you know what it is? That's his bike lock.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Well, either that or he keeps his cat in there. Right?
No, because I think he's actually scared of cats.
Scared of cats? Didn't they worship cats?
Yeah, there's something about Mummy's been scared of cats or something.
Well, they worship cats, but maybe he's like apprehensive about cats because he considers them like immortal god beings.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so she's like, you've got a cat. Your character has a cat, and every time you bring it up, he sounds very reverent of Mittens.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I don't think we can take this any further, but
no,
we have to put this up.
Yes, I'm saving this link because there's 127 of them here or something, 177 of them here. I think we'll end it there this week.
There are some weird ass fucking... Oh, God.
So, I think we will end it there. If you want to find us online, you can go to podchaser.com/bitstorm.
If you want to see this photo, go to...
No. Well, we'll put the
Bitstorm.
We'll put the photo in our show notes. Go to podchaser.com/bitstorm. Check out the show notes for episode 169, and we'll put a link to it. You can go there.
Can we not actually embed them in Podchaser?
Yes, you can, but I don't want to like rip off someone else's photo that they might not want us putting up there. So we can link to it.
Okay, fair enough.
Go there. Also leave us a review. Let us know what you thought of the episode. Give us some ideas, feedback, all that good stuff. We're also on the 8-Bit Network, the 8-Bit Collective. This is a group of podcasts with all sorts of great pop culture topics and run by awesome people. So go to 8bit.net and check out some of those great shows.
Yes. Okay, so we'd also like it if you could check out the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network. Just search for the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network on Facebook or at AGP Network on Twitter. Finally, we'd like to thank Kuridos for the song Mount Defiance off of the album Containment Failure. Oh, and my band Eldritch Rise just released their first full-length album, Helen Doom and Days Long Gone, on shadowbeastrecords.bandcamp.com. Check it out, see what you think.
Yeah.
Please do.
Support our shit, baby.
Yeah.
So I think, again, thank you for joining us this week on Bitstorm. I'm Ben Slinger.
I'm Trevor Scott.
And Gamal is coming for you.